Hello there. So I wasn't going to do another house purchase and sale update video until completion of my purchase, but I've just been watching the last video back and I'm so sort of down in it. I want a little bit more of an upbeat end to this series before hopefully I complete on my new purchase. So I'm going to give you another update. Plus, just not in the mood really to film a Lego video. I've got an idea for a Lego video that I was going to film, but this is obviously at the forefront of my mind, so I might as well talk about it. There is a little bit of a story here. I think this might be quite a nice reference for people who are going through the similar sort of process. They can watch it, see the sadnesses and issues that I go through, and see how they actually get resolved. Might give them a little bit of optimism. Where we left it last time was exchange had taken place on my sale and my purchase, and completion of my sale was supposed to take place yesterday, and completion of my purchase is due to take place on September the 30th. I am very pleased to reveal that completion has taken place on my sale. I am officially homeless. Okay, obviously I'm not homeless because I have my parents' house to live in. So just to tell you what happened, I got an email from my solicitor at about 9:45 in the morning saying, I'll let you know when the funds have been received and we've completed. Maybe preemptively expecting me to ring him nervously. I actually wasn't going to ring him because, believe it or not, because of all the previous stresses and how terminal they've seemed, something as routine as actually sending over the money that we knew was in place didn't really bother me that much. It would have been really extraordinary if completion hadn't taken place. Then sort of 45 minutes later, I got a phone call from my solicitor again saying completion has taken place. Where are the keys? What have you done with them? Well, I'd already at 8:45 in the morning dropped them off at the estate agent, ready for my buyer to pick up and move in, which is pretty good of me, really. I'm such a lovely person. Usually you don't really get the keys till about midday, so you expect maybe people will move out on the last day, and they've got until midday usually to get out, and then you get the keys. Now, I don't actually know what time they moved into the property. I did drive past a little bit obsessively yesterday 3 times, 2 times during the day, and there was no evidence of any activity, and once in the evening, and the lights were on in my bedroom, which I can tell you is a very strange feeling. I have lived in that property for about 34 years. It is the only property, other than my parents' house now, that I have ever known. I was brought up there as a child. I had all my formative years, my years as a toddler, ramming my toy bus into my parents' bedroom door because they wouldn't get up and tuck me in again for the 3rd time that night. Heartbreak, deaths, Christmases, birthdays, my lovely dog Oscar, who's no longer with us. There are a lot of memories there, and I know every corner of that property intimately, and it's a little bit of a head trip for me now to look at the photos of it that I have on my phone and to recognise it instantly as my home, but to know that I will never, in all likelihood, ever step foot in there ever again. Unless I become a multi-millionaire, and then maybe I would buy it back. I think I may do that, actually. It's a bit of a rambly video. I am going to talk about the last day, and actually thinking about it, I think quite a good video for the future would be to give you an idea of the costs involved in buying and selling, because one thing that people probably don't take into account enough when they're moving house are the associated costs. And being a geek, I have actually got a spreadsheet that lists all the costs I've incurred, including even the packaging materials that I use to pack my items. If you're moving, it isn't just the difference between the equity you have in your home, what you're hoping to sell it for, and the cost of your new place, or even just the deposit that you think you'll need because you'll borrow the rest. It isn't just that. Just to give you an idea, I estimate that my fees are probably, well, they're certainly in excess of 10 grand, all the fees. probably closer to 12 or 13 grand. But I will give you a breakdown on that in future. So my completion date is still set for the 30th of September. And I'm slowly coming round to the possibility it will actually happen. I've been worried the last few days about the mortgage application, which was successful, the mortgage being revoked. But the more I've thought about it, the more I've spoken to people, the more information I've read online, I've kind of come to the conclusion that it is just a completely irrational fear. My circumstances haven't changed, so there is no reason for them to withdraw it. And actually reading the terms and conditions of the mortgage offer, they can withdraw it under reasonable circumstances. Well, I mean, I can't foresee any reasonable circumstances when you've judged my situation and it hasn't changed and it was approved. So fingers crossed. But I've even got, because I'm used to, as a scientist, seeing where things can go wrong and trying to find strategies to mitigate those issues. I've even got plans in the back of my mind for further mistakes, further problems that could arise, but they are extremely unlikely. But I'm still trying to temper my enthusiasm. I'm not going out and buying, even though I've got like gift cards and vouchers and things, I feel like it's kind of tempting fate. And also, to some extent, this is a significant reason as well, I feel like they are the exciting parts of the process. Once I have the keys in my hand, then go to B&Q and buy the things I need. There's also some cash flow issues. That's the wrong way of putting it. I've got sufficient savings to carry on. I'm not short of cash, but there are sort of cash flow, current account issues in my life at the moment. There's money I don't want to move out of savings into my current account. I'm owed, I estimate, about 5 grand in payments from various organisations, including like refunds from my mortgage provider, refunds from my energy supplier. I know that I'm going to have my first mortgage payment to make. I know that I've got my remaining removal costs to pay. So it's kind of, I'm on top of it, but there's a kind of balancing act here with money at the moment. So the other thing, just to revisit what I was saying about missing the property that I've lived in for so long, was my last day in the property. So I had to go there in the evening to pick up my last bag of stuff. I had to pick up like my telephone and a towel and throw some stuff away that was just sitting around, gas, electricity and water meter readings, so that I can give them to my suppliers so that they can work out my final bill. And it just was all a little bit surreal. It didn't feel final. Every time I've left that property in the last 34 years, I've gone back again. So it felt like I was still going back again. I actually filmed a video of my kind of final look around the property before I turned off the lights for the last time and walked out. Maybe it's probably not emotional for you, but maybe it's a bit weird, a bit final to finally say goodbye to the lounge where I filmed my most successful video. No longer furnished, if that's the right word, with red carpet, but it's still the lounge, still the fireplace that I sat in front of cross-legged and made about 3.5 grand in advertising revenue from a 15-minute video. Absolutely extraordinary. It's very odd, and it's strange to think somebody is sleeping in my bed, because I did actually sell a lot of the furniture that I had in the property for 845 quid. Not a lot, I know, but I basically sold everything apart from my new sofa, a desk, television stand and a small table. That's kind of it, because I'm going to get new furniture eventually at my new property. Not going to buy it now, because if I stick it on a credit card, then my credit rating will go down and my mortgage application will fall through. You have to be very strict with yourself and careful at this stage of proceedings. I've set up mail forwarding, so hopefully, it'll take 5 days to activate. Hopefully the guy there won't just throw my post in the bin. Maybe he'll give it to a neighbour and they'll get in touch with me, or he'll send it to the estate agent. That would be good. Had a last minute panic last night when my dad pointed out that, because I've left my internet router there, because it turned out my broadband couldn't be disabled for another week. And I thought, well, rather than him having no internet because he wouldn't be able to activate another service provider on that line with my service still active, I thought I'll leave him the router for a week and tell him he can just throw it away or sell it at the end of it. And in the meantime, I bought myself a new router to use at my new place. But then my dad last night pointed out, well, that means the phone line's still active. I hope he doesn't ring Hong Kong. And I thought, oh yeah. But thankfully, I'm with TalkTalk, and I found that you can actually set a limit on the total cost incurred in a given month. So I've set it to £10. So you can have a very quick phone call to Hong Kong, assuming he's got a landline phone. Most people have got mobiles these days, I think. So hopefully you can see I am more upbeat now. I am happier. I'm hopeful. Because to sit here and worry now for what is the next something like 11 days that it's all going to fall through is irrational and unhelpful. I will deal with a problem that arises as it arises. But I'm just not going to sit here and start buying curtains and furniture in preparation because it feels like I'm tempting fate. It's amazing how somebody who considers themselves to be very rational and not believing in any kind of fate or anything like that, it is amazing how superstitious and careful you can become if you have a run of, I wouldn't say bad luck, because this is a privileged position to be in still, undoubtedly, but a series of stress-inducing disappointments. It's amazing how those can impact upon your outlook. Anyway, I mean, actually more than that now at the moment. We're going from summer to autumn here in the UK. And every year I find this really, really depressing, essentially. I do think I possibly suffer from this thing called seasonal anxiety disorder, which is basically you just get sad when, which is what it stands for, when autumn is on the horizon. I love summer. I know a lot of people don't, but I just like, obviously I moan when it gets too hot, but I just like it to be bright. I feel good. I like everything to be green. I like being able to go out in the evening and it's still light. And then autumn emerges and I find that the actual sunlight changes. I can't quantify it. I can't really describe it. I suppose there's a sort of golden feel to the light in autumn. It just feels different. And even though it can be hot, it can be 25 degrees C, you still know it's autumn. And this is before the leaves have even started to fall from the trees. But every year I get this, and it goes away. There's Christmas to look forward to on the horizon, and hopefully I will be in a new house by then. And I will give you a tour. I'm not going to show you the outside because, well, for obvious reasons, although I'm not a massively successful YouTuber, you would be surprised, actually, the number of people who recognise me from my television appearances, which sounds big-headed, but it's not. There are some people, and two people in the last week. One, somebody who lives near me, it was quite nice to be noticed, and then other people aren't quite sure how they know me. So I was standing outside a charity shop about a week ago. Some people walked past and were sort of staring at me and then said out loud, I recognise him from somewhere. They can't remember where. Probably either YouTube or Channel 5, unless something else. Of course, the concern is they don't know how they recognise me, do they? I could be infamous, not famous. As it turns out, I'm not either. But anyway, I hope you've appreciated this little more upbeat update. I'll add this to the playlist. The next video on this will actually be the completion, like I promised in the last one. Thanks to my loyal patrons, especially George Foot, Magnanimous Meg, Ross Carter and Jennifer Jones, who are extremely generous patrons. I don't know if you can tell, but I actually do that. I'm counting them. Thank you to my other patrons who are scrolling down the screen now. They get early access to all of my videos. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe. I never really say that anymore. And I shall see you next time for another video.